Hello and welcome to the Empowered by Design podcast. I am so excited for this episode 184. And I have two very special guests with me here today, Perri and Callan Lichtenauer. We are going to be talking about endings, new beginnings. This is the final season of the Empowered by Design podcast, our farewell tour. So we are going through all of the different kinds of endings and talking about how they can be handled in a really healthy way. And today our focus is on endings in the career arena. So welcome, Ben and Callan. I'm so excited that you're here.
Happy to be here.
So excited to be here and a part of your farewell tour.
Yes, I know. I can't believe it. Well, so we'll talk about first how we met, because it really does play into all the things we're talking about. We connected through To Be Magnetic, TBM. How I met both of you is Ashley, who formed this TBM meetup group in Philadelphia. And you were all a part of it before I was a part of it, but I was introduced to, I found the TBM Philly group, Philly Connect, in, I want to say my first time was April that I came.
That was also
and that was your first time too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Callan, when was your first time?
Like February or March, and it just started, I think, in January. So
Okay, so it's a newer group.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the three of us are part of a bigger connection of people who are followers of TBM, To Be Magnetic, with Lacey Phillips. And it is a manifestation process tool. Bigger than that, though, it is about really going in and healing and growing, reprogramming, neural reprogramming. It incorporates a lot of neuroscience into understanding why things are blocking us from living our lives authentically and how we really want them to be. So it was so fun for me to meet and connect with the TBM group, because I have been doing TBM for about, I want to say 2.5 years now. It has been really helpful for me. And as you know, this season ending is one of the big endings that's happening for me in my career. In one of our recent meetups, I talked about and shared with all of you that I plan to end this podcast this season. Our goal, our mission here is to share our experiences in a way that helps others and to inspire and I know that there's going to be some magic happening even as we're talking, which is always very fun for me.
Okay. Endings are actually really interesting. I think that's something that I, until recently, have really struggled with in my life, actually. Endings of friendships, relationships, living spaces, career chapters, life chapters. And so I feel that this is one of the first times in my life that I've been able to not just hear, but absorb that an ending is also a beginning and every ending is a beginning. And so recently I have quit all my jobs and I left everything behind. But I have quit almost all my jobs. And I kind of got to the point in, I want to say January of this year, where instead of just reflecting on how certain things in my life, I wasn't going exactly the way I wanted to, I kind of realized just how exhausting and energetically depleting these jobs and aspects of my life were. And not only that, but that it didn't have to be that way.
Oh, I love that.
I'm not meant to do that. And so like I've been getting in this habit recently of realizing that I'm not alive to be punished or to be serving other people all the time or to be shoulding all the time or to be constantly trying to figure out how I can, please the people. I'm here to be, fulfilled and authentic and content and really satisfied with the things that I'm doing in my life. And so if I am not doing that, I have the volition, I have the choice to be able to change that. Sometimes it feels like you can be stuck in a certain way, whether it's a financial constraint or a relationship constraint or some sort of environmental constraint that has you in this loop or in this block, like kind of you were talking about, of, well, I have to do this so that I can do that, because if I don't do this, then this won't happen and this won't come together and this aspect of my life won't work. So, and I definitely have had those thoughts. I don't stand here on my high heels saying, "Oh yes, everyone, quit all of your jobs, say no to everything you don't like. It's easy and you can do it right now." No, it's scary. There's some anxiety. There's a lot of transitioning. There's a lot of learning how to regulate myself. That I've been using through various therapy tools, through tools like the DIs and To Be Magnetic. And also just really discovering what that means to me. Like I have a PEMF mat now, and I have like a little trampoline that I jump on, and like all these little things that I like to do to regulate myself. But essentially, yeah, I have gotten to the point in my life where I have seen what living my dream life can look like. And it's not once I get to that dollar amount of money I'm making. It's not once I live in this kind of apartment or that kind of house, or once I have this relationship. It's now, it's today. And the only way that I can continue to start to shift and mold the life that I'm currently living more and more into the lens of where I want to be is by changing little things every day and actively deciding and pursuing that is what I am worthy of having in my life. And so I have quit all of my jobs, my bartending job. I've lived in Philadelphia for about 4 years now. For these 4 years, I sing in the chorus with Opera Philadelphia for quite a while. Which is very fun. That's what I went to school for. I have a degree in vocal performance studies and German studies. And I've sung all over the world, doing opera and other various musical things. And then I sing with a couple other of both local and traveling ensembles, one of which I still sing with, called The Crossing. They're this Grammy Award-winning choir that the director is a mentor and a friend of mine. And so I'm still singing with them because I actually love doing that, and it actually lights me up, and it actually makes me satisfied. But I also used to work a church job in Valley Forge, where I'd sing for various masses and cantor for various churches in the area. And I worked a bartending job at the Victor Cafe in South Philly, where we sing opera every 30 minutes. And all the servers are classically trained. And so, everyone does an opera aria or a musical theater piece once or twice throughout the evening. And that was really fun. And I like the social aspect of bartending, but I realized that, especially that job, it was just draining my energy. And I came home at the end of the day or the end of the week, and there was nothing left for me. And that started to become unacceptable.
That's important.
And it was hard to realize for a while, because and we can start to get into some of the things I've learned from the money challenge for To Be Magnetic, but a lot of my money stories are either having to do with, I have to grind to get to where I need to be. And if I'm not doing that all the time, it's never going to be enough to get to where I want to be. That's my dad, in his life talking. And then the other part of my mom was that I need to have money to get people to like me, to be able to control situations, to be able to control outcomes and be safe. And so it's kind of through both those lessons, I realized that I got my FU fund together, my emergency fund that I wanted to live off for the next couple of months, and I quit all my jobs sooner than I thought I was going to. My friend, actually, who helped me quit, I was going to quit in May for the bartending job. I ended up quitting in March because I couldn't take another moment of it. And people look at you like, oh, but we're family and all these things, and it's like, when I walk through the threshold of this door, energetically, I feel this burden and just this weight on my shoulders, and just this entire environment and attitude of, it is what it is. And that is not the way that I live my life. It is what I make it. And so I've even gotten out of the habit of saying it is what it is, because I don't believe that.
I love that. I love it is what I make it. That is such a great reframe on that phrase. We hear too much.
I know, because
it is what I make it.
It's this disparaging, like, I guess we have to succumb to, whatever life throws at us. But life is going to keep throwing us challenges. It's how we respond and how we continue to find ourselves and grow through those challenges, because chaos is going to happen around us all the time, no matter what. That's the law of entropy. But I think that how we are able to reflect in ourselves and then translate that into our position in relationships and our understanding of how we want to live our lives is more important than accepting this narrative or this idea or these cycles of, generational ideals that we're supposed to hold or supposed to continue the cycle of. But at any rate, I've quit all those jobs. I'm going to move to Los Angeles, which is still insane, but I'm really excited about it. And I'm almost right at the end of becoming certified as a human design coach, which I am loving so very much. And I'm so very grateful that the people in those communities have been not only very encouraging, but so the teacher is Erin Claire Jones. She was on the TBN podcast not too long ago. And she's been doing this for a while. She's very skilled at what she does. And it's kind of crazy to be speaking with her and her being like, you're meant to do this, and be like, wait, really? And she's like calling me out and singling me out. She's like, you have a way with people. You are very naturally comfortable with this. This is something you should do with your life. And I'm like, wow. Because I mean, it's one thing to be like, okay, I like doing this and I feel confident doing this, but it's another thing for someone who is, I would say, is an expander for me, and someone who like I see to believe and know that if they can do it, then I can do it, who's farther along in this course or that trajectory than I am. For them to say, no, you have a gift at this and it's very clear and you should be sharing this now, because this is something that you naturally have the propensity to be able to give people and guide people and allow them to be able to, for themselves to be seen in the same way that we all want to be seen as humans. So very excited about that. And I don't want to go on for too long, but that is my general.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, you told us what you're ending, what you have been ending, and what you're doing now and where you're going. I love all of that. And as you were talking, I even though I said, let's just have a conversation, I'm like scribbling notes because I'm like, that's good. I want to come back to that. One of the things that came up as you were talking was you said January. So things started in January, and it's interesting because we are in this year of the snake where there's so much energy around shedding and releasing and just getting rid of the things that do not serve us. And then recently we've had the new moon in Virgo energy.
Fun fact, I'm a Virgo.
Yay.
I know, super exciting.
I love it.
Virgo season.
So the new moon in Virgo also encouraged us to release the old stories that defined us and no longer define us. And I love. We're just in the very beginning stages of that new moon in Virgo energy. So I love it. I love that there's energy. It's about really being intentional, right? So Ben, you're saying, I quit all my jobs. You didn't just quit all your jobs one day. You intentionally decided what energy do I need to stop absorbing, stop giving in a way that's not aligned with my authenticity.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely correct. And not only that, but it's kind of this idea that, I don't know, I keep telling people all the time, it's like the curtain has been pulled back. It's like, I see what's possible now. And it's so tangible. I mean, like, these are the things that I have dreams about and think about and daydream about and see in my head all the time. And so I can't go back. I had to plan, right? I had to set aside the money that I needed to live off of. I thought about this thoroughly. I adequately prepared. I also finished a professional certificate in data analytics just so that I have sort of like ideas of what I want to do going forward. But I keep being surprised because every time I think that I'm like, oh, maybe it's going to be this. Nope, that's not how it works. And I'm learning even more with my human design that I'm not even supposed to know how it works, which is something I'm slowly becoming more and more comfortable with. But it's knowing all these things now. It's having all of the possibilities revealed to me. It's just like, I can't go back. Like, I know too much now. I've seen too far, into the abyss or the void or whatever. I don't know, so to speak. So I have to. So.
Well, Ben, I actually have a question, and Liz, if this isn't like allowed, like edit it out. But like,
it's allowed. Your
okay.
questions are
well,
allowed.
I don't know. I'm actually curious. So endings don't just have to mean like professionally or relationally. Ben, like you've moved, you're from Georgia and you were in Chicago too, right? And now you're in Philly. So like what led you to all of those moves? And like those are endings as well. Like you've left those places too. And I'm a huge advocate for like leaving your hometown. So I'm just curious.
I think all of those stages in my life were all up-leveling stages, and I don't think I've been able to realize that until about now, with maybe the exception of moving from Atlanta to Chicago, because it's like, okay, I've graduated high school, I'm going to undergrad, like this is the next chapter. But every time I've done it, I felt more and more myself, and the opportunity for growth has only become larger and larger. And someone was telling me this the other day. It has to do with, like profile lines and things like that in human design. But specifically with one of my profile lines, I have a 6 line. All that means is that as I go through life, it starts as sort of this experimental, like throwing stuff at the wall phase. And then as I start to get past 30 and past 45, like someone told me, like it really only gets better and better and better because you start to crystallize that wisdom and that growth and all those experiences and all the data you've collected of, I call it, being an expert in the human experience as you go through life. And you get to the point where you've started to be able to figure out how to not only share that with other people, but how to live that very authentically. And so, yes, each of these points in my life have very much been an up-leveling. And Chicago to Philly did not, at the beginning, feel like an up-leveling. I was supposed to move here with a friend. It didn't work out. Everything happened at the last second. It was very stressful. But it was the first time that I lived by myself. It's the first time I realized that I needed space by myself, that I wasn't going to be able to grow in a relationship, that I needed the kind of space that I have now to be able to really find myself and lose myself and find myself again, in order to start to feel grounded and really plugged into my own energy and what I want that to look like, and know that I am worthy of that and that I can do that. So
That's great.
That. Yeah, I love that. I love lose myself, find myself, lose myself. I love that. I always do this like motion with my hands. So for those of you listening, I'm just kind of like doing a spiral where we're leveling up, we're spiraling up, but it's and the trajectory is upward, but the movements within are like what you said, Ben, is like finding, losing, or coming home to ourselves, like going out and trying new things and having new experiences and relationships and jobs and coming back to authenticity. And each time we do that, we're growing and elevating. And so yeah, it's fun to be able to have that approach and not take it too seriously, right? Like one of my goals this season of my life is to really not take myself as seriously as I have. Just have a lot more fun and enjoy the things that come from all the energy that I've put into building the business, building a family, building the life. So thank you for sharing. Callan, tell us about what you're up to now, where you've come from, where you're going.
When Ben was talking, I was nodding my head. I was shaking my head like a lot because especially what Ben mentioned about generationally, shoulds, all of that. I think society spoke to me a lot. I always had to have a plan, and maybe that's just like my astrology or human design. I always had to live within a plan. As soon as I graduated undergrad, I moved to Georgia for chiropractic school. And then I did that for almost 4 years. And then immediately after that, I moved to Virginia just because, and that's where I opened my practice. So within 6 months of graduating, I opened my own practice with my husband. And we did that for almost 5 years through COVID, all of that. And we have since sold it, and a lot of things led to selling. It wasn't just I woke up one day and was like, I'm over this. Like we said, just takes intentional decision. So much happened where in 2020, I unexpectedly, suddenly lost my father. In a way where like he went to work one day and didn't come home. And like I had to drive and like, I brought back his lunch. And then we also we suddenly lost a patient as well, who was one of the healthiest people that we knew. And within a month, he had passed away. And it kind of led us to look at each other and just be like, what is all of this for? Why are we working so hard? Yes, in service of others, but I'm losing so much of myself in that process. And we kind of kept asking ourselves this question. And I think in summer of 2021, we had rebuilt the practice and I was just so depressed. Like everything was so great, but I was just like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. And we've realized that for us personally, if we knew what we were doing 5 years from that very moment, that was just suffocating. So it was the easiest but hardest decision that we had to make. And at no point was it, oh, but I went to chiropractic school for 4 years. Oh, I put this much money and student loans into it. Oh, this is my practice. We opened it. Why give it up? Like there was none of that doubt in my head. It was just like, I'm not happy and I'm going to do whatever it is to make me happy because this is my life. Society spoke to me where it was just like, okay, you graduate high school, you go to college, you join the workforce, so you go to a higher degree, and then you join the workforce and you meet somebody and you buy a house and you have kids, and then that's just what you do until you retire. And then you can live your life.
Yes.
That might be for some people, but that's not for me, and that's what I've learned the most about myself. So I felt like I just couldn't, one of my authentic codes, or that's what TBM calls it, core values, which some people might know is expansion. And that's for me to expand in growth, in knowledge. And even though I built the practice, I felt like it ran me in so many ways. So we sold it. We were unhappy in Virginia, so we moved back to Philadelphia. And like, we know this isn't forever either. I don't know what the future holds for that, but maybe some form of nomadic lifestyle. I don't really know. I just know that I can't be tied down. And Ben has read my human design. Ooh. I am a generator, and I might be saying, I'm sorry, Ben, I might say this wrong, but like okay. My human design.
Ben will fix it.
Yeah. I'm supposed to just keep trying things, just keep trying things out and do what makes me happy every day. So I'm just going to keep trying things and go through life as, like I keep saying, I'm a student of life. I went back to school and got my master's in sport and performance psychology.
I love that. Yes.
So I'm actively pursuing becoming a certified mental performance coach. And I haven't yet started those hours yet, but I'm beginning to look for a mentor and do all the things that I need to do for that. I don't know what the future holds. And because I have had such a plan my entire life, it's been so hard surrendering. It's definitely a lot of shedding this year, definitely a lot of shedding like old patterns, old thought processes, and just accepting that this is who I am. I get bored easily, intentionally though, not just shiny object syndrome, but I just need to keep doing find things that light me up. Chiropractic wasn't lighting me up. And I know enough about myself to know that just like doing mental skills with people don't light me up. I'm finding a way to merge the nervous system work of chiropractic and merge the neuroscience and science aspect of psychology to impact performance. And that's, I'm combining physiology and psychology in some way and looking at performance. So
yay. I love that.
Yeah.
So Ben, I know you have there's stuff going on in your mind about human design.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Is
So
it that all? Yes.
I
No,
just know you're very passionate about it.
And I know your gifts.
Oh, and also I think too, it would be fun for us to talk a little bit about human design, because that is something, Ben, as you talked about, you're pursuing. You're both pursuing these new, fun and fulfilling and authentic chapters in your life around career. For people who may not know what human design is, can you explain a little bit about it?
It's funny because whenever people ask me about this, I had a friend who once said, "Yeah, what's the Muggle sales pitch for all the Harry Potter people out there?" But essentially, human design combines quantum physics, so kind of the energetic signature that subatomic particles known as neutrinos hit our bodies when we're born, with Eastern teachings like the I Ching and the chakra system, as well as astrological properties such as our date, time, and location of our births. Essentially, what it does is it gives us a lens to see how we are living our lives, and if there are ways that we can live our lives that aligns more with what we're naturally meant to do based on how we work through this system. Anything from creating opportunities for ourselves, making decisions, leveraging our strengths with our weaknesses, and learning how to hone and really give those strengths. Because all the people in the world have obviously a bunch of different gifts, but it's kind of amazing to have a system that allows you to find not only like what your gifts are, not only how you can use them, but sort of this understanding of being seen and using that as a tool to be able to live your life in a way that feels more aligned, that feels more authentic to yourself. And so there's a bunch of different types of things going on in a chart, but there's 5 different types, and followed by like a strategy. So like sort of like ways that you are responding in certain situations, a profile that sort of goes through maybe aspects of purpose and the way that your design kind of caters to possibly a career or towards kind of like larger gifts that you bring throughout the course of your life. And then smaller things that can define anything from when and where you should be eating to, and it's not should, but when and where you could be eating to when and where you find ideas of certain relationships to, do you work better alone or with people, or all sorts of kinds of things. But I say this to people all the time. The whole point of this, it's just another tool in your toolkit, right? Take what resonates with you, take what really helps you and is useful to you, and the things that don't resonate, feel free to leave behind, because the whole point of this system isn't about being right. It's about being useful. It's about being utilitarian. It's about allowing a look deeper into yourself, a pause to reflect and see what that reflection can offer and allow you to live more authentically.
Oh, yes. I love that. I love when you said, this is a tool, this is one way, right? So a lot of times we talk about how many different ways there are to heal and grow and fly in our lives, in our businesses, in our relationships. And human design, I was introduced to human design by my friend Angie, who she is an Enneagram coach and also incorporates human design into it because they're complementary. Mm-hmm. She introduced it to me and I'm fascinated by it. It always feels like so much more to learn. And when you said the profile line, how over the course of your life, things change. And I feel a lot of energy in my life right now changing, of where I'm getting to a place where I'm seeing and actually embracing the discipline, the aspect of discipline and structure, where I guess, Callan, like what you were saying, it's kind of imposed upon us in our culture at times, like, okay, you go to high school, then mm-hmm. for certain aspects of the population, you go to high school, then you go to college, and then you do this, do that. And it's like, it's all there for you. And then when you get to the end of that, you're like, oh, what do I do now? Right. So you have to, then it's helpful to impose your own structure. And that's something for me that has never been a fun part of my life, imposing structure and setting boundaries and limits. But I'm seeing, when I do that, there's so much freedom within the boundaries and within the structure. I don't know if that's part of my human design. I'm a 1-3 projector, right?
Both of you have
1-3.
3 profile lines in your human design, which is why that
We both have a 3 profile line, Callan and I.
Yes, I'm pretty certain.
What I'm understanding about the 3 line
Mhm.
in my human design profile is that we have
Yeah.
we like to try things. What is she at
Helen's
1-3?
also a 1-3, so that's
Okay.
when y'all are both looking at each other.
That's
I was like, there it
interesting.
is. Yeah.
Wait, we're both 1-3s, me and Liz.
So
Yes.
you're a 1-3 generator and
Yeah.
I'm a 1-3 projector.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, fun secret fact about the 6 is until the first phase of your life, the 6 has sort of 3 phases, right? 0 to 30, 30 to 45, 45 and beyond. 0 to 30 looks very much like the 3 profile line, actually. And so I'm currently in the phase of my life where I'm really also experiencing this kind of experimenting, kind of like throwing things at the wall, having to be brave, because I know that the way that I'm going to understand how to do things is by understanding all the ways that it works and all the ways that it doesn't, but being in that spirit of play and getting to understand that bravery is going to help me encourage and support others while also figuring out what I'm trying to do.
Oh, I love that.
And that's what we just do our entire lives.
Yes.
Does it ever taper down?
Yeah. It's so fun, but it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting.
But the good news is that even though this is more focused in the first part of my life, and this is something that is more of a major part of y'all's life, the amount of wisdom that people will be able to gain from you later in life is only that much exponentially greater, because you all have been embracing this aspect of just being yourselves and allowing it to happen as it does, and not chasing success in the way that other people tend to naturally do, or the way that society programs us to do, because it isn't success that is valuable in the way that the 3 line manifests itself. It's the pioneering, like playful, experimental. It's the act of trying things and seeing what happens in the first place that makes you these amazing storytellers and these amazing like supporters. Like the way that you will understand people will only become more and more like critically deep and vast as your life goes on.
I mean, I can see that just from my personal experience. It's like, okay, it started out with chiropractic, which isn't just like twist, crack, pop, you're on your way. It's it's medical school. Yeah. It's a lot of nervous system work. It's a lot of all of that fun stuff. And I took that, and from there I've learned about like vagal tone, your vagus nerve, HRV. And then in the practice, I started doing hormone testing on women, and that led me to learn about the HPA axis even more. And then I'm like, oh, I had some health issues myself, so I'm learning about like the gut brain axis. And then I moved all of that into like, for my capstone, I made a workbook that, and I was supposed to do research, but I told my advisor, no, it's not for me. and I made this workbook where it built everything that I've learned. Like, I feel like it's a lot of building blocks in my life. And then now whatever I do next, because I have to keep experimenting, it's going to be another building block. So who knows what it'll look like 10 years from now.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's also just an amazing way that whenever people ask you about your life or what you do or how you got there, you are the living proof of giving people permission to try and see what happens, and know that that isn't only just acceptable, but it is an even more beautiful way of like experimenting and growing in your own life. So
yeah, and for me, the 3 line, learning about that aspect of my personality was so validating and helpful, because I had a lot of people in my life, close people to me, who didn't have that aspect of their personality. And so I was called a quitter a lot. I would just try something and I would be like, I love this. And I would do it until I didn't love it anymore. It didn't light me up anymore. Or if I didn't really love it, I would just stop. And it led to a lot of jokes in my family, like, oh, what are you trying now? And sometimes I still hear that voice in my head of like, what are they going to say? I'm doing this brand new thing, or I'm doing this new thing that, is so exciting to me and it's lighting me up. And when I learned that about my human design, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so, like, it just was like this beautiful, like, river of magic that flowed over me to feel like, okay, that's because that's who I am. And I don't have to apologize for it or explain it per se. Now, I do recognize that potentially it has effect on relationship, right? So as a love and relationship specialist, I recognize that when I'm in relationship, very close relationships with people, then my changing my mind or changing my actions or my career so much, it does affect other people. So there's an aspect of it that for me, this is authentic and it has helped me to learn how to, in my relationship, nurture those important activities of getting to know my partner well and letting my partner know me well to explain this is who I am, this is what happens. And it has been such a relieving of the pressure. Now sometimes he's like, what are you going to do now? What are you up to now? It does affect relationships, so we can't just be like, oh, this is me, you just have to like deal with it. We do have to look at how does our behavior and our changes affect others, and not in a way that is like, oh, I'm just going to put myself in this box and not be myself, but to be able to talk about and inform people about ourselves, to know ourselves, to have self-awareness so that then we can then share that with others and they're not scared, right? Like, when are you going to change and when might you change our relationship, or right, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. And you also have that beautiful one line that also like loves to dive deep about things and like go into all these like little things that you like to learn about, that you're fascinated about and details of. And so it's, you not only know all the ways that it works well and all the ways that it doesn't, but you have like such a vast understanding of like all these different aspects of your life because of that nature of wanting to dive deep into it and experiment. And that's only going to help you be able to like really be the kind of guides and mentors yourselves. It's funny that you're looking for a mentor right now because the universe mirrors what you're saying or what you're doing and things in your life. And so just know that those kind of experiences you're going to be able to share with other people are going to be invaluable. They already are. So
it's so funny you're like talking to both of us because we have like the same. But yeah, like I like diving deep. Like I got like a mole removed at the dermatologist and there was like abnormal cells. So like, okay, we're going to get more. I'm like, okay, cool. But like, I just think it's so interesting of like this human design. It's like, oh, okay, this is who I am. I'm not just abnormal. Where she's like, okay, like you'll get a skin check every 6 months because your body's making abnormal cells. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'll come back in 6 months. But then I'm like, okay, why am I making abnormal cells? Oxidative stress, and then I'm going into like cellular apoptosis and figuring out all that. Okay, what can I do to help with that? And like now I'm diving deeper into that. So
yeah, no, it makes complete sense to me. And it's so I recently coached a 1-3 too, so that's why my brain is like really like ooh da 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 da.
Wait, so what is this pattern of 1-3s in your life?
Yeah,
like,
you must pick us up.
It's
you collect us.
I weirdly enough, like what I've been noticing throughout time as I've been like doing different coaching sessions is I tend to work with a lot of projectors and generators. I don't know why, but that's just kind of what comes around. Also, manifestors and reflectors are less common. Just there's only the 10% of the population are manifestors, 1% of the population is reflectors. But there's also like 38% of the population that's manifesting generators, and I just don't bump into them as much. But essentially, it's really interesting because the 1 line and the 3 line have this capacity both to work really well with each other and also to be so antagonistic if they can't see that they're trying to do the same thing. Because some people are like, oh, I need to know everything so that I can feel confident. If I'm not an expert in this, people are going to doubt me. People aren't going to believe me. So I need to ask questions. I need to like really figure out every aspect of this. And a lot of times
have that.
I know.
I think our faces at the same time went like, yes, you were speaking right to me there. Because sometimes I'm like, why can't I get it together? And then there's other times where I'm like, la la la, life is wonderful.
Exactly. and that's your security. Sometimes people see ones as being very intense. It's like, why are they asking all these questions? Why are they being so like It's like no, that's their way of showing. So that's their way of showing that they like really feel lit about something or they want to dive deeper about something. But it's interesting because a lot of times with ones, I'm like, all right, so I knowing that I know that it could be that knowing everything about this is going to make you feel secure and safe, but I probably have an inkling, or I'm pretty sure that with the solid foundation that you already have of this understanding about this thing that you're trying to figure out, that is enough for you to claim yourself as someone who has expertise in that and begin to share it with other people. Because sometimes you kind of get in that perfectionist cycle of like, oh, well, I just need to know more. I need to know more. I need to know more, because otherwise people aren't going to listen to what I have to say, or I'm going to doubt myself, or whatever, because, it's like this, it's knowing, it's being this knowledge seeker and knowing all these facts that gives you that security, that gives you that comfort. When in reality, if you're 70-80% of the way there, that's okay. You are able to have this skill, claim that skill, and share it with other people. But it's tricky, because perfectionism really tends to be antagonized. And then you're trying to experiment with things. And so if they want to have all the knowledge all the time, this part wants to have the knowledge all the time, and this part always wants to keep experimenting. It's like, no. But in reality, it's like, oh, if I have this solid foundation, I know that I'm allowed to experiment. I'm allowed to share with other people. I'm allowed to use my storytelling skills, the things that I've learned along the way, this idea of being able to play around, and my knowledge to be able to help other people give themselves the permission to be themselves. So it's really interesting.
I think with that, Liz, I don't know if you feel the same way, but when you were talking about the perfectionist part and the experimental part, I get so nervous that that perfectionist part will kind of trap that experimental part and be like, nope, you can't, there's no room to expand and grow and everything here. So I have to kind of figure out how those two can live in harmony. That's my thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, as we've been talking, I did the confidence DI this morning, and so much of what came up in there we're talking about here. And one of the prompts in there was, what is blocking you from being as confident as you can be, being as assured? And perfectionism popped into my head, right? So wanting everything to be perfect blocks me from, I have so many ideas, and some of them I put energy into, and some of them you can't do them all. But I think that would be the thing that perfectionism blocks me from, I guess I would say, really, really expanding. Because when I look back and I'm seeing the things that I've done, like you said, Ben, you can go through the stories of your life. I was a teacher. I ended that career because it was not what I wanted to do forever. And then I went back to school and became a psychologist. And then I opened my own business and expanded in that way. So there's lots of endings and beginnings and trying new things. So I can't say that my perfectionism has stopped me from doing amazing things. I'm so grateful, and I'm love to be able to look back and celebrate all the fun things. And I think that when I'm feeling in a particular period of time, I'm stuck and I feel a little bit stagnant, that's when I have to say, where am I being too critical, fearful, perfectionistic? And when I can locate that and just do the damn thing, take the action that's in line with the vision, then even if it's not perfect, then that's when the things start moving and start being like, yes, this is happening. So it's there, and I try not to let it be permeating through my whole life. But when I'm stuck, that's when I'm like, okay, where am I being perfectionistic, and that's halting me from taking action.
Yep. You need that hands-on experimenting. That's so important for threes. It's not just about maybe this or maybe that, thinking about it. It's no, you have to dive in and try it and go for it, because as much as that knowledge is going to allow you the one line, as much as that seeking for knowledge, that ideal of really wanting to understand something and dive deep, you need space to go down those rabbit holes, and you need to put your hands in the mud, for lack of a better way to say it, because then you can know for yourself, you've gone deep enough to satisfy the one, while really getting your hands into it to satisfy the three, so they work together in this very you can almost explore all the facets of this one thing very quickly, or over a long period of time, if that's how you want to do it. So it's very interesting.
And I love too, Callan, what you were saying about the building blocks. Because just as I briefly said, I did this and I did that and I did that. That looking at it from that lens, as you said, of these things that I've been doing, I didn't abandon them, right? I didn't close the door, close the chapter and be like, okay, I'm off to something brand new. I'm taking the learning from each of those things, whether it's a relationship or a job or a position, a schooling, a degree, a certification, and I'm building up on that. And that for me feels really encouraging. So I love that, even with thinking about ending the podcast, because there are moments, and I think that this is an important aspect of talking about endings. My intention here for this final season is to be transparent and open of like, there are moments when I'm like, do I really want to end it? And then yes, it is time. And you really do. But that like doubt and fear when we're thinking about ending something, any kind of relationship or job or chapter, to be able to say there's always room for those doubts and like, am I making the right decision to come up? And if we ignore them, then then we're in trouble. We can be in trouble if we're like, no, we're not going to, but if we're not going to examine them. But if we look at them and say, yeah, there's sadness here, there's worry here, there's a what if possibility here. And then the way that I love to think about it and help others is if it's in line with your values, it's in line with your vision, then there's less chance for regret and remorse down the line in the future.
I think also at the same time, and maybe this is just like the intense generator in me, I don't know, Ben, you'll have to let me know, but like, yes, there are endings, but like, Liz, if you get a ping like 3 months from now, I need to make this, I gotta make this a podcast episode. You can grab the microphone, grab the headphones or headset or whatever it is, and just get right back to it and throw another podcast episode out in the world. I can, if I'm like, wow, I miss being in a chiropractic office, I could go back into one. Ben, if you're like, I really miss bartending and singing opera every 30 minutes, you can go do that. Like, we have free will. Am I too intense?
No, I love that.
No. I'm really sitting here. I'm like, oh, look, it's a generator with sacral authority talking to a projector with emotional authority. This is very like, feel your feelings, express the whole range of emotion, be willing to like let that process and sink out. And that's completely normal because those emotions are cyclical and we have to let them run through our bodies. And Callan's over here being like, yeah, but when your gut knows, you can go back and you can do this and you can make decisions. And I'm like, yep, there they are. Just being themselves.
I love that. So I have a question that also came to me as we were talking, but from the Confidence DI. And I want us each to answer this. So one of the parts was, imagine yourself walking into your dream job interview. And you're walking in and you are so confident and detached from the outcome of what happens in that interview. Tell us that vision.
There's no interview because I'm the boss. I mean, I can go back and like imagine a situation, but that was my first.
That was your first thought.
That was my first thought.
Okay, love it.
See, it's tricky for me because there is an interview, but there also isn't. Because in my brain, what I've seen is this ability to be all the things that I am at once and be able to carry that into each of the places that I go, right? To be a collaborative musician that likes to use my understanding and way of expression to connect with other people while also bringing in, like the experience that I've had to, support other people in their experiences or open and hold a space for people to be able to understand themselves and feel the way that they want to feel and feel safe and free and secure to explore what they want to do. But in my head, it's always been this vision. I think I told Ashley about this before, that imagine if you were in an outdoor theater, not super big, like think theater in the round, think like 30, 50 people. and you were able to almost sort of do a deep imagining as a group. I think that's a good modality as to set this up as. So imagine there's, musicians, whether that's a couple of instrumentalists, some singers. There's also some, like, could be visual art, digital media, things like that going on, as well as spoken word. And through this experience, everyone kind of comes in, and it's kind of like interact as much as you feel you want to. There's an opportunity to sing with people, to shout with people, to dance with people, to sit in meditation with other people. And all the while you're exploring, maybe, we're exploring the idea of grief and how that happens through people's lives, and the act of letting go, or the act of you've gone as far as you can with somebody, or you're exploring the idea of, building confidence in yourself, or trying to find what's holding you back from doing what you want to do with your life. And so in my mind, like, that's what I would want to do as a job. And so that I can bring all of the skill, because singing is what I love. That is what lights me up the most, even though I love sharing human design with people. But an interview for that, oh man, maybe it's a bunch of like-minded, heart-forward people that have the same vision, and either are adding me to their team, or really committing and doubling down on creating something that to birth this into existence. Because I've done that once in my life with a performance group, and it was absolutely magical. But I feel like it was just the starting point, and it needed to, just like any good thing does, have time to mature and sort of like really grow and mold and shape and be like worked dough almost into this more beautiful, like fully actualized, realized version of what it's trying to be. But yeah, so that's a long-winded answer. The interview is hopefully people have the same idea and want to invite me along to do it with them.
Yeah, and there's an aspect of that that's an interview, but it's more of like, show us who you are. Mm-hmm. So in my vision of that, and one of the things that I would love to do, one of my things that I'm trying to manifest, I'm calling in a career related way, is I would love to be an advisor for love and relationships. Mm-hmm. And I don't watch a lot of reality TV because it makes me uncomfortable because it's not truly reality, right? It's scripted. And a lot of times I don't know if the two of you ever watched The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, but when those came out, it was more like their reality TV can highlight some of the very broken and unhealthy patterns of relating in our culture and in our society. And I would be like, but I could help them, right? Like, so there was always this aspect of like, but if you did this in a relationship, this would help you do better. And so there's a part of me that really would just love to be an advisor on a reality show like that, that actually wanted to help people be healthy rather than catastrophize and like highlight the unhealthy that people laugh at. So one of the shows that I do love is Queer Eye, because I think that is one of the most beautiful shows, and they truly just they have that you can tell that they're out for making people feel good and show like feel good stories, and just, it's amazing. So that would be my job interview. I would want to walk into a room where they're like, okay, like, tell us, show us, but to be able to say this, just be myself, be silly, and not feel like I had to perform, so to speak, even though a job interview is a performance, but just to be myself and to be valued for those aspects of the things that I can see and feel and energetically put together in a way that's helpful and helps people be the healthiest version and fun version of themselves.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
I see that so much.
I can definitely answer the question. What was it again?
I mean, so yours is working for yourself. You would be the boss. But so tell us, if you're right now in this moment of your life, your manifestation of being like, yes, I'm so excited about what I'm doing. What would that be?
Definitely working with people who are willing to, because we've all done, I mean, Liz, you're a psychologist. Ben, you're also in therapy, as I am myself. And like we do the DIs, we do the hard things. I want to work with people who are willing to do the hard things, willing to implement that in their lives, willing to really do the deep work, because it might be hard in the beginning, but it will end up giving them the extra edge. And having space for that and being able to collaborate. Like I never see myself like in the arena, I guess, like the performer, that one. I'm the one on the side helping and being a part of that team and helping someone else live their dreams. Like I'm watching the Olympics, I'm sobbing. Like because just seeing people realize like their life's dream and stuff like that. That's why I love sports. Performance in any aspect, even on stage, like just anyone who puts themselves out there showing like what they are meant to do. I want to help them, give them like be on their support team, give them that extra edge and just really be that person for them. So I think that's that.
Yeah, I love that. That's cool. Ben?
Yeah.
I know you answered the question, but I thought maybe I had a thought.
I was just saying, I was thinking to myself, I was like, those kinds of positions for Callan, those positions exist. It's interesting because one of my previous exes is an Olympian. And so they have an amazing team sports psychologist. And she definitely is the kind of person that's like I'm doing this because I want to be here, and this is something that I'm doing, and it's like this service that I'm bringing. And she's doing her own thing. She's not like, controlled, or it's her practice that she's bringing to that. And Team USA is hires her. The ex was a volleyball player, so it's a bunch of volleyball players. And so it's very much very possible. And I remember being at sort of like a banquet, but I remember the sports psychologist getting up on stage and just kind of like looking at everyone and just being like, everyone, all the players just like start sobbing because they know like what that person means to them and how they were able to hold so much like palpable, comforting, soothing space in an environment that is so deeply entrenched with, besides all your friends being your competitors, and besides, it's being this like pressure cooker of having to be the best, it's, she was the person that they could go to and talk to, and, got some people to be able to even contemplate, going into therapy and things like that, like actual, like a psychological therapy. And so when she got up and spoke, it was very calm. It was very short. It was very to the point. But everyone else just started weeping in a way that they didn't respond in the same way to anyone else talking, because it's those kinds of people that like give people the permission not only to be themselves, but to like you're saying, like pursue their dreams and be able to accomplish like really, truly like Herculean kinds of outcomes and achievements and successes in their lives in the realm of sports. So that position exists is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, thank you.
And I hear you saying that, and I think that you'd be absolutely fantastic at it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, like you said, in that pressure cooker, like I want to be hired to be the calm.
Mm-hmm. We've said DIs a lot, and I wanted to clear up for people who aren't familiar with TBM. DI stands for deep imagining. So it is self-hypnosis, guided meditation track that there's lots of different topics. And it is what I have loved so much about the program is it was very much like when I was introduced to it again by my friend Angie, I was like, this is what I do. It was just so aligned with what I help other people do. And the TBM program is something you can do on your own, right? Like it's self-directed, it's self-guided. And so you can just pop in a DI and listen to it. There's lots of workshops. So for us, that has been a tool that helps us to regulate our nervous system, be calm, but also be able to go in and see these things like, oh, it's my perfectionism coming back again, or different things. And then also envisioning what those things that we really want to call in are and speaking them out loud. For me, it's very much the more I talk about it with others, as I'm talking about it things are happening in my mind, but things are happening in the universe where we don't even know what's happening behind the scenes at times. And it's beautiful when something comes and you're just like, oh, it's here. So that's an exciting piece. So I definitely wanted to include that in here to talk about what are we manifesting. We are closing chapters. We have closed chapters. We will close chapters again in the future. And then also what is on the other side of it can be surprising, but also really, really in line with what we are wanting to call in.
Yeah.
So tell us where we can find you both for people who want to connect with you more.
Instagram is probably the best way. I am currently going to be in the works of sort of like overhauling my social media a little bit. Ben_Perri is the short answer.
We'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I understand that like advertising on social media is not the way, even in my design, that I'm meant to be doing things. I share things with my community and I do things by word of mouth. All the jobs I've ever gotten are from friends of people that have recommended me for things. And at first I kind of thought that was like imposter syndrome. It's like, no, actually that's someone willing to stake their reputation on saying that you are good at what you do. And so it's more of accreditation than someone hiring you through a job application process. So yeah, I'll probably be building a website, but yeah, Ben_Perri, I reply to messages.
Thank you.
Well, mine will be in the show notes because it's a behemoth of a name, but
Okay.
it's at Callan Lichtenauer.
On Instagram?
On Instagram,
Okay.
yes. I'm barely ever on Facebook. Do not find me on Facebook.
Okay.
But I'm also going through a kind of redo of my social media because even though I am working towards those hours, I'm still going to build my own thing on the side. So even if it's just sharing information right now. So that's actually on the to-do list for this week. So
yes. Okay.
yeah, I will share that when that happens.
Thank you. Well, thank you both for being here. This was so fun. I loved connecting with you here. I can't wait to connect with you again. Thank you all for tuning in. I invite you to share this episode with a friend, someone that you love who would love to hear this and benefit from it. Thank you again, Ben and Callan, for joining me. And I can't wait to connect with you all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.